Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Courtney. Sorry about the glare on my glasses. Today I have got a general home decor item for you. It's farmhouse beads with a felt flower. Now I do want to say this disclaimer at the very beginning here. Felt flowers are so pretty. They are soft, they add a certain element to a room, but dear goodness me, they take freaking forever. I'm just gonna put that out there just so you know that this is one of those crafts. It's fun, but it's one of those get yourself some movies on Netflix, sit down and work on it. So I'm just gonna tell you that right now, because what seems like it doesn't take very long in this video, it took me forever. Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna take you through this little DIY here. So here is your timestamp to get straight to the tutorial. For the rest of you, I did have actually a couple people ask me for clarification about my last DIY, which was a wall hanging that had shiplap and beads. They wanted clarification on attaching the actual tiles together. So I'm just gonna quickly, I have one of the little tiles here and show you kind of what I mean by this. Okay, so I cut the sections, if you remember, that had 4 beads on it, and I just kind of left them long so that I could attach them. So basically what you're gonna wanna do is take your board, okay, and you're going from the back of the board to the front, so make a loop. Okay, now granted, remember, your beads are gonna be hanging on this, or you could take them off and then put them back on if you want to, but you're basically going to make a loop, okay? You're gonna take your loop and thread it through the hole of your board or whatever you have here. Now, of course, I picked the thickest twine I could find. Okay, so you've got your loop, it's threaded through. This is what it looks like, okay? Now remember, you have beads on one of these, okay? So basically, you take the beads at this point, let's pretend they're on here, pull it through like this, okay? And then your other little tail you pull through as well. And then basically what it is you have it like this. Okay, I really hope this is, okay, it looks like that, okay? Now just remember, I should have put beads on here. This is probably not helping. I already packed up my beads, y'all. They're already packed up. Okay, so pretend there's beads right here. So then you have this little dingle hopper right here. That's how it goes. Like, you guys don't even know this intro. Lucky. I'm just gonna keep going. Sorry, I know. I'm just gonna keep going because you have no idea how many times I've been trying to film this. Okay, so one of these has the 4 beads and then you have a little tail. All you do with that extra little tail is glue this down. You have your beads and then you just glue this to the next one like that, like this. I hope that makes sense. I know I should have put beads on here, but if I'm being honest, I don't know where they are. I said they're put away somewhere, and I cleaned up my mess when I was making this, and I remember one of my kids was yelling for me and I had them in the little jar and I carried it off somewhere. So that is why I can't show you with beads. I'm just gonna be honest, I'm just gonna wrap myself out. That's why. So hopefully that makes sense. So very quickly to recap, okay? You take whatever thing you're using with the hole, working from the back to the front, make a loop, pretend there's beads right here, okay? Put the loop through, just like this. Again with this thinking stick. I can't even talk. Okay, yeah. And of course it's gonna you guys, I'm having a rough day today, so I'm just gonna hope that that first explanation was clear enough for you guys. And I will, yes, if it's not, please feel free to ask me again and I will be happy to show you again when I find my beads. So, okay, let's just get into this tutorial, guys. This is just, oh, so bad. All right, let's go. Okay, we're gonna start by making this felt flower in pink, and this is a turquoise one I made for my craft room. You need one piece of felt. I got mine from Hobby Lobby. And you're gonna need small scissors, preferably if you have them. So I've got curved scissors. I've got these that have kind of a slant to them. This just makes this project so much easier. So we're gonna start by cutting our strip for the outside petals, and that's gonna be a 2-inch strip. So I'm just going to cut all the way down, and you're going to end up needing basically 6 large petals. So once you cut this down, then it's just 2 by 2, and I'm simply going to go through and finish cutting this strip. All right, I finished cutting that one strip. The next strip is going to be 1.5 inches wide, and you're simply just going to cut all the way down, and then these squares will be 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. Onto our next strip. Now this one will just be 1 inch wide. And then again, your squares will be 1 inch by 1 inch. Okay, and this is our last strip to cut, and this one's gonna be about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch wide, and then again, it's a square, so 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. All right, we've got our 4 piles of felt. So what you're gonna do is you're going to start with the large ones, fold it in half, and then basically at the bottom, you're going to kind of make like a heart shape. And when you open it, it looks like this. You don't want to point at the end, you want it to be kind of flat. So when you fold it in half, don't cut right in the corner there, go out a little ways, and then simply just curve it around and make this heart shape. And you're gonna do this to all of these felt squares. And when you get to those little ones, this is why these tiny scissors work best, especially if you have some curved blade ones. It really does help. So I'm gonna go through and trim all of these felt tiles. Okay, now that all our petals look like flat bottom hearts, you're going to take a pair of scissors and you're basically just going to kind of notch out the top of each of these little bumps. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be completely even, but basically I'm kind of going into the middle and making it like this. And you're just gonna go through and do that again to all of these petals. All right, now that's all done. You're gonna have one of these squares left over from the large petals, and what we wanna do is basically just cut it in a circle, and this is what's going to be used to attach our petals to. So I'm simply just gonna cut this around, and then you'll notice in the top left corner over there, I have some of those small squares left over as well. We'll use those to help secure. Okay, this is our last step to prep our petals. So basically you're going to take some hot glue and you are simply going to put a small little thin line in the middle of the petal and then just squeeze it together. You don't want to put the glue all the way from the top to the bottom of the petal, just the very bottom, and you're just going to squeeze it like this and basically do this once again to all of the petals. All right, we are ready to start attaching our petals. So starting with our large petal, you're simply going to put down some glue on the edge of that circle that you cut. And then when we folded these petals, you'll kind of notice on the sides there's these like little flaps, I guess you could call them. That's what you're pushing that part down onto the glue. So you're simply overlapping the petals a little bit and you're gonna go around and do the large, and then you're just gonna continue going to the next smaller size, to the next smaller size until you get to the center of the flower. flower is done. So now I'm going to take some twine. I'm going to put a little piece of tape at the end to make it easier to thread it through my beads. And I'm just using 14mm wooden beads that I purchased on Amazon. And I'm going to thread 25 beads onto my twine. Okay, my beads are on the twine. I have not cut the twine. I'm gonna use the end of the twine where all the extra twine is. I hope that makes sense. And basically, I'm making my tassel. So I'm simply just going to take the twine and wrap it around my hand until I get the thickness that I like. Once that is done, I'm going to cut a small piece of twine, and then I'm simply just going to thread it through my loop here and just tie with a double knot to get it secure. Okay, so now I'm just gonna cut the opposite end from where I secured this twine together. And then as you'll see, it's already attached to my strand of beads, which I really, really like. And I'm basically just going to kind of manipulate the twine here to cover up where I had tied this knot. And then once I do that, I will take a couple of pieces of twine and wrap it around the top to kind of get that little ball, I guess you'd call it, part of the tassel. The last thing I did to my tassel was I just trimmed it. So now on the other end, I'm simply just taking some twine and making a little loop and pulling it through a knot. So I'll show you in just a second how that turned out, and then I will be ready to start attaching my flower. Now certainly if you wanted to, you could also make this where you could hang it with this loop if you wanted to. All right, I felt like my flower was missing something, so I dug through my buttons and I had this really cute little pearl button, so I simply just cut the little back off, hot glued it to the center, and then felt like my flower was good to go. Now, once I get this on there, then I'm gonna be ready to attach my flower. I'm gonna be using some of these leaves from this pick that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gonna pull off some of the leaves, and then they will be attached to the back of the flower with hot glue. And first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and just attach the flower to the beads, and then I'll start working on the greenery. While I was working with these big leaves, I did grab another little stick of greenery that had smaller and a little bit different color leaves. So I did go ahead and add some of those in there. And then once those were all glued down, I went ahead and started working with some felt just to make the back a little bit prettier. As you can see here in just a second, I'm going to show you what the back looks like. It's not so pretty. So of course, if you were going to give this as a gift, I would recommend maybe doing a green felt on the back to cover up the leaves. I didn't have any green felt, so I'm just making a small pink one. But again, this is just sitting on the counter in my craft room, so I'm not too concerned because it's for myself. But if you were going to give this as a gift to someone, I would probably recommend getting some green felt and sticking it on the back, or this pink is fine as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and glue that down to try to cover up some of the mess on the back. All right, and here is the finished product. I just have it sitting on the counter of my craft room. It just adds a softness to the counter. You certainly can use these in many ways. For wedding centerpieces, you can use them on trays. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned for some DIY shout outs, and until next time, see you later.